Should have bought 2 more helmets after I saw that thing go for 400. Got me some new uniforms. First of all, I want to thank, it's such an honor to be here. I think it's about the third. I think I was the head coach at Middle Tennessee and had the honor to come here and speak, and at North Carolina State one time, and I think at Georgia Tech, one of my 10 years there at Georgia Tech. So I love coming down here. I love my state of Georgia. I'm from Marietta, and I know the high school coaching in this state. I wouldn't be where I'm at or had the opportunity to do what I did if it wasn't for my high school coaches. So all the coaches in here, the support staff, everybody, thank y'all for what you do for these young men. We need more. I heard Spoon say loyalty, you can't find it anywhere. And y'all keep doing what you're doing, because these kids need us, and we need to continue making a difference as coaches. You know, I talk to our guys all the time. I don't need coaches to be buddies with these kids. I need mentors, and that's what I look to hire. I need guys going to make a difference, and that don't mean you can't have fun with them. I want to thank some people. I got my table back here. Roger Holmes, the head coach at Dublin, one of my closest friends. Brad Wallace, Joel Ingram. You came here from Dublin. I think it's some of the best coaches I've ever been associated with, but not only our best friends. Me and Roger talk probably once or twice a day, whether it be football, life, whatever. So I'm so proud of what he's done. If you'll stand up, Drew Gaither. Drew's my associate head coach at Sewanee. And Drew came with me. I took a job at Western Carolina during the COVID time. They had a staff there, and I look back, and I'm not going to get into names, but you know I'll be transparent in this room, so I can't be too transparent. I had some coaches who work for dime on my staff, and so they want me to hire one of them, and I turned around and looked, and I said, no, not hiring him. I said, but who's this kid sitting back here behind me that when I get here at 6 o'clock in the morning, he's here, and when I leave at 10 o'clock at night, he's still here? And they said, well, you can't hire him, he's just a student. And I said, well, he's better than anybody y'all are paying right here. And that's why you're losing. And so, well, okay. Well, he hung in there with me. COVID came, he graduated. We had no grad assistants, no student assistants. And I told him, listen, I'll pay you out of my pocket. We played that spring, if you'll stay with me, and I'll get you a job. He stayed with me during the COVID year, ended up being at Georgia Southern the last 2 years. As soon as I got this job, I'm at the University of Buffalo. Talk about that too. But I'm up there. They called to offer me the job, and the first call I made was to my wife, and who didn't go to Buffalo with me, and that's a whole nother story. But I called her and told her I'm coming home, and hoping to hear her excitement about it. But then I called Drew, and the thing I liked about it in the coaching world, Drew didn't ask me what position he was coaching, didn't ask me how much money he was going to make. All he says, I'll be there tomorrow, coach. And that's what I was looking for. So he's going. I hope to keep him a couple of years, but he's going to keep reaching new heights where he's at. My career, I've been a lot of places, and I can tell you this. You know, being at Georgia Tech 10 years with Paul Johnson, who I love to death, and I still got a lot of friends at Georgia. Lamar Doolittle out here. I still got a lot of friends. I started walking up here to piss everybody off, Lamar, with a Waffle House. Come see how that worked out for you. But I told him I wasn't going to say that, but I had to go ahead and say that. But I have a lot of friends there, and wish them nothing but the best now that they, hopefully, with Coach Key, they're going a good direction. Aaron Joe played for me when I was there. They'll speak to y'all later on. And find a young man in America than Aaron Joe. But, you know, being the head coach at Middle Tennessee, taking it to Division I, went through all the battles there, and growing up. So I'm at the University of Buffalo the last 2 years. Sewanee called to see if I'd have an interest. Didn't know much about it. You was a charter member of the SEC back in the day, did the history of it. Still has the 1899 team that Coach Hatcher was involved with back in them days. I think he was only 10. I love Coach Hatcher. Phillip, it's great to see y'all, man. Coach Hatcher's one of my legendary coaches. Treated me like gold when I was a young assistant coming through here recruiting. Love you, Coach. I love everything you've done for everybody. Just like Spoon said, what a difference you made in so many lives, and I'm starting with mine too. So thank you. But I'm at Buffalo And they called, so I called my wife. I said, tell me about Sewanee. So she looked it up. She's one of them Google freaks that does all that. She looked it up and said, well, they ain't won about 20 years. I said, well, that sounds good. So we went through it. Finally, they called me to come down and take a look at it. And it got my attention. Number one, I looked out my back window at Buffalo, and there's 3 foot of snow back there. So that got my attention. And so when I flew me to campus, and I got around the place, it's a very academic school. It is the most beautiful place I've seen. It's got a big white cross that lights up at night. That was important to me. I talk to my players all the time. Every time we all wake up and both hit the floor, it's a blessing. And it's a great day. And who are we not to be great on that day? And so I got around the campus. Wasn't sure it's what I wanted to do until I met with 8 players at a player panel. And I saw 8 players out there that were hungry, that were beat down, that had no confidence. And I sat there with them by myself, and I had the normal old coat tie on, which y'all know, wearing jeans dressed up for me tonight. But I took that tie off and I said, y'all just talk to me. Tell me why I should be interested. What do y'all want? And the thing that hadn't changed in football is whatever you demand, you're going to get if they know you love them and they know you care. And I listened to these kids and I talked, and then when I left, the AD came and got me, and I walked out the door to go get his truck at his hotel. And every one of my kids came out running out of the door and hugged me. Bye. And I got in the truck, and AD told me, says, Coach, we've had 5 other guys interview, and that ain't happened yet. And I'm like, oh, jeez. So I got back to my wife, and she was all red-eyed and teared, and I said, what's wrong with you? She said, I just don't think you're going to do it. And I said, no, I think I am. I look at football right now, and we've won an Orange Bowl at Georgia Tech. I've coached at the highest level. I've enjoyed that. I love recruiting. I love making a difference in kids' lives. I love beating people in recruiting. I still got 5 at Georgia Tech. Shaq Mason, Wanye Thomas, Tariq Carpenter, Charlie Thomas, Jordan Mason still playing in the NFL. I love that part of it. But, it made me bad at Georgia Tech, but they say, well, they ain't recruited with Paul Johnson. Well, they're still playing. And I love it, and I strive on that. And I love seeing these kids be successful. So when we talked about that, I just want to make a difference. And this is Division 3. Okay, Division 3 is a little bit different, but I tell you what, the thing I'm enjoying right now is these kids love playing football, and they're getting a great education. Right now in Sewanee, when I got there, we had 38 total players on my team. 38. I walked into a little old gym when I got there, and they were all sitting there, and I'm like, this is everybody. And they said, yes, sir, that's all we got. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And y'all didn't tell me this on the interview. This is right before we got started. But we go in the interview, and after the interview, so they introduced me as the head coach. Well, right now, I recruit a bunch of freshmen. Georgia is my state. Okay, we're going to battle NAIA, D2. I'm not going to go against Power 5, Group 5, but I'm going to find guys that are really serious about education and that love playing football, and get them to Sewanee and see what it's all about. My roster now is 76 kids, half of them are freshmen, and we started fall camp with 76, and today, after my 3rd game, I still got 76. That don't happen no more. And that's what I love about it. There's guys that get up there and do other things. It's like, and I tell our guys that these guys have never been successful. All right. The history of it, we lost our first game in a tight game against a team probably better than us. But our kids fought 14-8 at the half, and our kids fighting it down. I'm like, wow, look at this. All right. Well, then the next week, last week, we went on the road and beat a team. First road win in 5 years at Sewanee. First road win in 5 years. The kids on this team rode back on that bus. They have never been on that bus ride back without winning. They really didn't know how to do it. Okay, this past week, we beat Millsap, who's supposed to be good, and they came out all cocky, and I love it. And we beat them. And we beat them at our place, and it was the first conference win in 5 years. It was the first time Sewanee has won back-to-back games in 10 years there. It's the first time we beat this team in 18 years. All right. So to see the excitement of our guys, to see the real football. You know, when I look at it and I see everything going on in football and everybody's got their own teams and I get it, I got mine too. But I'm so sick of all the moving, the stuff that's going on that ain't football. And so I'm sitting in a place that I get to every day. You know, these kids come and they want to be successful. And I got to watch it this past Saturday. And it couldn't happen at a better time. We won, we get a sack on the fourth down. I got 18 players on my team from Georgia. One of them from Georgia made the last sack. I plan on being like when I was at Middle Tennessee. When I took that job, I had 10 players from Georgia. When I left there, out of my 100 players, 85 were from Georgia. And that's what I believe in. That's where my success is, and that's where I'm going to do it at. And but to see what's happening, we have an off week this week. So I count that as a win, so we'll be 3-1. After this week, I'm looking for all the wins I can get right now. And then we'll go on the road again and play. The thing that I'm learning is, you know, when you get your ego out of it, when you get everything out of it and you're doing it because you love the game and you love coaching. They asked me when I came and took this job, said, Coach, you know, we don't want a guy that's ready to retire. This would be a retirement job. I said, do y'all think I'd have been in Buffalo for 2 years if I was ready to retire? I promise you I wouldn't. And I have as much energy and enthusiasm as I had 20, 30 years ago. I can't move as fast. I can't chase them around. But there's not a younger coach going out and coach us. And I love these kids. And it's fun watching it. You know, and I still believe in this. Somebody said, Coach, are you old school? You know, you're going to be an old school coach? I said, what does that mean? Because I'm older? You know, what does that mean? When I tell you to be on time, that means 5 minutes early? You want to call it old school? Yep. Yes, I am. When I say I want you to say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am, is that old school? I guess I am old school. Okay? But I know that the kids still want to be coached. They still want discipline. They still want that. We say, well, the kids have changed. No, they ain't. The adults changed. It ain't the kids. You know, the kids still want that if they know you love them and you care about them. Bottom line. And it's like in the world today. And so I'm sitting in Sewanee. Nobody knows who we are. Y'all wouldn't even know what our score was last week, did I tell you? And I know that. I don't have to worry about reading the paper in the morning at Sewanee to see how bad a coach I am either. They don't even have a paper up there. So, you know, I told our kids, you know, we're in spring practice, and I had this all-out blitz. I'm going to send everybody. You know, and I told the kids, I said, y'all, we're sending everybody, somebody's band's fixing to play. And they turned around and looked at me and said, we ain't even got a band. And I said, well, let's make sure it's not their band playing, you know, when we get there. So we sit there. This past 2 games, we played 16 freshmen. 16 freshmen, so they're learning as they go. And the things I still keep talking to them about every day, and I believe it's in life, I believe in everything we do. You know, it's cliche, but I still think everything starts with attitude, and that's all of us sitting here. You know, when I'm blessed enough to my feet hit the floor in the morning, I get a choice. I got a choice this morning when I got in my car coming down here saying, you know, why am I going down there? What if it's for? 4.5 hours, whatever it is. You know, but I tell my kids, it's a great opportunity to be great. Average means you're as close to the bottom as you are to the top. And I promise you this, everybody in the world can be average today. Everybody. I don't care if you're coaching, playing, whatever you do. Everybody in the world can be average today. Nobody will stop you from being average. As a person, as whatever you do, you can make that choice and nobody will stop you. But if you don't want to be just average, because that's close to the bottom as it is to the top, then what am I doing to make a difference? You know, for all of us. And my coaches believe that. I've hired a great staff, Mike Pelton. Some of you, I got any Auburn people in here? 1, 2. Go that way. Mike Pelton played at Auburn. He's my defensive coordinator. He's a D lineman there, played in the league. I've got as good a staff as we had. Drew, I told you. I got a couple of my guys from Western Carolina that came, and so we've had some guys been a little bit everywhere that are on our staff, and that are loving these kids. Thing we talk to them about too, and I tell them this every day: if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Tell our players that. If you aim at nothing, you're going to hit it every time. So don't aim at nothing. Let's set our goals. Let's set our standards. You know, I keep hearing people talk about process. Process became a cliche word across coaching about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, it's the process. It's the process. It's all that. No, it's the standards. What are you setting for your kids? What goals are you setting? What am I doing to help them get better? You know, I tell my coaches, and I believe this. You know, I see some young coaches, they think just because you can wave a towel, you can coach. You know, no, that ain't coaching. That ain't coaching. Teach. Teach. They still need taught. And I don't care what level it is. And I want it with energy, I want it with enthusiasm, and I want it with love. And that's how we're going to continue doing it. And I said that players need us. And that's what we're going to keep striving to do. And I got probably 5 or 6 more years in me to do this. And my goal right now is to see Sewanee hold a trophy over its head, which it hadn't done in a long time, and for them to be very proud. It is for you young ones that don't know where it says. We'll talk academic schools in the country. By the time you walk off that mountain with a degree, you got a job, and a good one. Got a great network of people that support it. Got a great base. Shirley Majors, from some of the older guys in here. Shirley Majors and Major families, coaches there for a long time. Coach Moore was there. I've met all his family. And if you go over through Chattanooga, you're 30 miles north of Chattanooga, up on Mount Eagle, is where it's at. And if you're ever going toward Nashville, you go up on the mountain, come off. Any of y'all come see us. We're going to fight. I don't know what this year's going to end up. All I know is every time I walk out with these kids, I couldn't be more proud to watch a bunch of kids overachieving and believing in themselves. And it's like I tell my coaches, we all have young'uns, and there's one simple rule in coaching that I believe in more than anything. Just coach that kid like you want somebody to coach yours. That's it. Bottom line. I don't want nobody cussing my kid. I don't want nobody putting my hand on my kid. Okay? I want somebody to coach him, and I want to coach him hard. And I'm as loud as anybody. I ain't got to cuss to be loud. Everybody thinks you got to cuss to be a good coach. You ain't got to cuss to be a good coach. Just coach them. You know, coach them like you want somebody to coach your own child. And if you do that, you'll be a good coach as a young. But somewhere along the line, somebody thought that just cussing somebody out is supposed to be good coaching. No, it ain't. I just mean you got bad language, you ain't learned nothing. So I demand that of my coach. My coach know right now, if I hear MF or GD on my practice field, you're fired on the spot. Don't play that. Get as excited as you want, hug them, care about them, love them, change their lives, and make them better men. And if we just continue doing that, I don't care if it's D1, D2, D3. If you're doing it for the right reasons, then we can change a lot of lives. And so I'm enjoying everything I'm doing right there at Sewanee. Be happy, and I can't figure out, I didn't know what the name of the school was. Is it the University of South or is it Sewanee? And I'm still trying to figure all that out right now. You know, the University of South's a lot more words for me, so I just say Sewanee. And but a lot of tradition. I'll be happy to ask questions. I've been in this place and had some great questions, and told y'all a long time ago what I really wanted, probably 20, 30 years ago. I want to be one of them coaches that got fired in the first year of my contract on a 5-year deal so I can get on TV and talk about everybody else. And they could have done a good job ever how that works. I see that all the time. I pointed out a few names last time I was here that kind of got out publicly, so I'm not going to call out any names this time. But I get tickled when I turn the TV and I see all these guys get fired from coaching at some of the best jobs in America, and now they know what everybody else is supposed to do. And I get watching TV now, I just cut the sound off because I can't stand hearing some of the hypocrites on there that talk about how they love their kids, and the same one just cussing somebody 2 months ago, and now he gets to talk on TV with all their little dapper uniforms on and all like that. So, but any questions I can answer? Yes, sir. I've only been on one road trip so far, and it was long, and it brought back. But you know, back in my Middle Tennessee days when I first started, we was on long trips, so I had a good idea. it's different. You know, what I got right now is I got 6 coaches is what I got. So I'm coaching the position, I'm running the defense, I'm doing this and doing that, but I don't have any GAs, I don't have no student assistants, you know, I don't have any interns. Now I got to get that changed. But what I told my players, and I believe we're going to travel first class. And the things that have been done at that school before, I could write a book about. And the thing that's happening for me right now is these kids, every time we do something, that last bus trip we had, 7 hours. Okay, 2 stops, rest areas, they've been getting brown bag lunches. And I said, oh, no. Ain't going back here. We're stopping at restaurants. We're treating first class. I want Powerade, I want water, I want, Coach Gay can tell you, I call, you know, when you take jobs like this, and it's not just here, when you take jobs and you got guys that have been there for 20, 25 years, and they've seen the same old, they don't want to change. And so right now, I've gone in and I walked in there and fired everybody when I got there, which, that's a whole nother story. I fired all of them, then I had to go to banquet that night while the family staring at me when I got there. Let me tell you all that story. Should I do? Yeah. All right, I got there, I'm at this mountain, it's a Christian university and I'm a Christian. That don't mean I'm not a sinner. You know, I had all my mistakes, people in here know my background, so. But when I got there, I came in and it was so backwards, it was so bad, and these kids, you know, I met with them. So they got a nice banquet bus, first class. Okay, so I walk in there, my wife's with me, I've been on the job 3 days, I just met with 6 coaches, and one of them's crying, and I said, you should have been crying when you recruited out here. But so I fired all of them. So that night we go to the banquet, not thinking all 6 coaches and their families are going to be there, staring at me, pointing at me, there he is. Well, I get in there and it's an open bar. Yeah. And so I walk in and I got to the open bar and I told my wife, and she sees I'm pissed. And I can't tell who's drinking. The parents, the kids, I don't know if they're my kids, they graduate, I don't know who the hell any of them are. And so I'm watching, I said, no, I got this ain't, she said, this is not your team yet. I said, you're right. But I'm still mad. So I go walking around and they want me to speak, and I said, no, I'm not speaking. I'll wave to everybody and I'm getting out of here. And about the time I was leaving, one of the daddies stopped me. And Coach, we're so glad you're here. You bring instant credibility to the mountain, this and that, shaking my hand. And he's got my hand, and he turned and looked at me with his nice little suit on, and he said, and I expect to see my son play this year. Oh, shoot. Pretty good, huh, Roger? But he shook my hand, and I wouldn't let his hand go. And I said, oh, really? Nice to meet you. Appreciate those nice words. I said, which one's your son? And he said, oh, he's right there. I said, good. And I squeezed his hand harder. I said, then why don't you go tell him that you expect to see him play? Don't come tell me you expect to see him play. Well, now his face got red. He's mad, and I'm still squeezing the heck out of that hand. And so finally he walks away. And I told my young coach back here, I said, I'm going to show you coaching one-on-one. Watch him the rest of this while we're here. Watch him go tell all the parents what a bad person I am now. And you saw him work the room. There he goes. Coach England, you been through it? Twice. Yep. So he's walking around working the room, telling everybody this, you know, this. And what's so sad, his son's a great kid. Great kid. You know, and he's playing. Not because of that, but he's playing because of who he is. So that was my introduction to it as we got started. And what my AD has done is he's given me everything I want right now. So I'd like to have a couple more coaches, and I'm going to get that. But Sewanee's never won, and sometimes I say they don't know what they don't know. You know, they don't know what they don't know. I got into it one of the guys worked there 25 years, so well, that's the way we've always done it here. Well, let me tell you, how's that worked out for you? Not very well. So we're not doing it that way. And so hopefully we're getting all that straightened out. We are. I wouldn't have took this job if I wasn't committed to winning football. Okay? And I just think if I'm an academic kid and I'm very serious, I tell kids honestly, And I will let you know I love recruiting. And I tell you honestly, if you're not serious about education and you don't love football, don't come to Sewanee. It ain't complicated. Don't come here. Okay, find somewhere else. And I told our kids that. And so that's what we're looking for. And they're out there. They're out there. And it's a close distance to this state, and I think we can get in this state, get in Tennessee, get in Alabama. We got kids from all over, everywhere. No. Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, stop. That's what I'm going to do, and get people that get involved on the mountain. Yes, sir.
Coach Tim put the Mars Hill from Macon.
Yep.
He's Division III, my understanding, of Mars Hill. He's just celebrating, I think, 27 years of being at the same university.
Yes, sir.
How does it take a coach to come? I know you're not your last coach, you said 5 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Can you project your any coach staying at a Division III school for 27 years?
I could, now that I've seen it. Yeah, and it goes back to this, what are you in it for? Am I in it for the money? You know, I've been that route. A divorce cost me half of it, but I've been through that. You know, I've been that route. But, you know, after what I've done and now that I'm seeing it, I'm telling y'all, I'll correct the kid and he come back, I'm sorry, coach. You know, you gotta tell me you're sorry, we're all gonna make mistakes. Yes, sir. And then just to hear him, thank you, coach. I gave him hats all the other day. Thank you, coach. I gave him travel suits, kind of like this. Nice sweats, and I'm giving stuff they ain't never had, okay, because I want them to feel good about themselves. And it's, thank you, coach, thank you, coach. It ain't like that everywhere. It ain't like that everywhere. You know, TV's taking over this game. All decisions are being made by TV, and all these salaries that are being made, all goes by TV. Just look at the conferences. You know, how are we going to have it? I mean, just look at everything, man. You're talking about 2 schools in California now in ACC. Come on, it's all about the money. So I'm enjoying that, not being that part. At Buffalo, I could be there for a month with 4 different kids in the team meeting room. I don't even know who they are. Okay, how do you build camaraderie? How do you build? What I'm seeing, my son played D3. I wasn't one of these parents that said, well, no, my son's D1. He did. No. He was D3. He loved playing football. Got a great education. He's now vice president of a bank in Atlanta, Georgia, and played 4 years of football and had the time of his life. And I got to see it through him. And so now that I get these kids, shoot, they're like mine. And all I'm going to do is keep adding to them. And if we can win and keep winning at the mountain, there's a lot of people will hear about Sewanee. I hear all these national championships in D3 all up north. Let's bring one down south. Why not? Why can't we do it right down here? Why can't do it with Georgia kids? Why can't do it with Tennessee kids? They're better players here than there is up north. I'll tell you that right now. So all I got to do is get them to know who Sewanee is, and get all these high school coaches in that the kids got the grades and serious about school. And we're going to win in Sewanee. And I'm going to stay there until we do it. And I don't have no dreams of going nowhere. I've already done it. I've already done it. Seen it. Been there. Got good rings. Got a lot of rings. Okay? But them rings ain't going to my graveyard with me. So all I want to do is keep making a difference for these kids. And need all the help I can, and with my staff and high school coaches. Because, like I said to start with, man, that's why I'm so appreciative of coaches. You know, coaching hard. You know, I see what it is to D3. I can't imagine high school. You know, I can't imagine what they, I can't, because I hear it all the time from my coaches of what's going on. So I have total respect. And Spoon and all these coaches know that I love my coaches. And our place is open. I'll have clinics. They know right now they come up anytime I think talk football. Okay, a curl route's still a curl route. I don't care if it's D3, D2, D1. You know, blitz is still a blitz. You know, the game's still the same. I've got kids on my team that can play D1. I got one from Dublin, Georgia, that's starting for me as a freshman right now. That I think I got one from Jefferson, Georgia, starting for me as a freshman. Dawsonville, Georgia, starting for a freshman. Got some really good players, and I'm excited about watching them grow up. So, I got one last thing. There's another question, and on top of what that is, and I probably read this to y'all before you guys been here, but I believe this wholeheartedly. This is in my locker room, along with my top scriptures for my kids to see every day. But this is my winners versus losers. I've had this everything I've ever done. When a winner makes a mistake, he says, I was wrong. When a loser makes a mistake, he says, it wasn't my fault. A winner works harder than a loser and has more time. A loser is always too busy to do what is necessary. A winner goes through a problem. A loser goes around it and never gets past it. A winner makes commitments. A loser makes promises. A winner says, I'm good, but not as good as I ought to be. A loser says, I'm not as bad as a lot of other people. A winner listens. A loser just waits for his turn to talk. Talking about loyalty, Spoon. A winner respects those who are superior to him and tries to learn something from them. A loser resents those who are superior to him and tries to find chinks in their armor. That's the world. That's not just coaching. A winner feels responsible for more than his job. A loser says, I only work here. I'm going to do that right now. Not much longer. I got about 2 more fires. I'll be all right. A winner says, there ought to be a better way to do it. A loser says, that's the way it's always been done here. That's the mindset I got to change. That's on my wall. That's on a big board in my locker room because I want to coach winners. But some of these kids don't know what winning and losing is because it's not just football, it's life. You know, the biggest truth you got in coaching, and I say this, and you hear other people talk about it, but I live it. You know, I want these kids 10 years from now to bring their kids to me and say, I want you to meet my family, coach. Meet my family, coach. That's what coaching is supposed to be. Not the million all that. Thank you, coach. Or that kid that everybody told you, hey, coach, he can't do it, he's dumb. You know, I go back to y'all and y'all, my Georgia Tech kid. P.J. Davis from K Road, Georgia. I talked about that in this place. P.J. Davis was 5'9", 220 pounds. Paul wouldn't let me sign him. And I thought he was the best player in the state of Georgia, from K Road, Georgia. And I loved this kid. Paul wouldn't let him sign him every time I went to his high school. His coach, P.J. would come in, and I didn't figure it out about the 3rd time I'd go into school. P.J. would come in with his jeans and shirt off, sweating, watered down. Bowed up, he's 5'9". But he'd bowed up, you know. So I kept thinking, why every time I show up to school, he just finished working out? Does he ever go to class? You know, because he's always like that. Come to find out later on that every time they knew I was coming, they'd take his shirt off, pour water on him, and he'd do his curls and flex up, so when I saw him, he looked all bowed up, and he didn't look short. And on top of that, he put boots on, which made him 5'10", and every time I saw him. So it got to the end of recruiting, and it was a Saturday before recruiting, and we had a running back. Some of you Georgia guys remember this. Running back out of Augusta that flipped from Georgia Tech and went to Georgia. I can't remember his name, from Augusta. And so, you remember his name, I can't, but he flipped. So Paul walks in my office and says, you really like that kid from K Road, don't you? I said, Coach, best player in the state of Georgia. Y'all get through his height. Best player in the state of Georgia. And he said, he was mad at me. And he said, why, no offer. So I called PJ that Saturday night. I offered him, Mama, Yo-Yo was her name, was still like family to me. She comes up there, had different color hair every day. And crazy, but a great mama. And they come up, dressed to the tip. The happiest family I've ever seen in my life. We're all crying. Happiest family. Well, that little 5'9" linebacker comes there and starts 4 years, all ACC, signed with Jacksonville Jaguars. But he's also one that told he's too dumb, it was too small to come to Georgia Tech. He's got a degree from Georgia Tech, earned it. Now, was he pain in the tail for about a year or two? Yep, he's shooting fireworks out his door over the interstate one time. I got chewed out about that one. You know, and Paul would always say, hey, your boy, that's your boy. Yeah, he is, but wait till Saturday. And, you know, I remember his mom and them came out to watch practice one day, and he'd been missed a couple of classes, so I'm running pretty good after that scrimmage, and Mama gets us right there, and she says, Coach, she says, how's PJ doing? Well, and PJ standing right there, head up. I said, Yo-Yo, he's doing fine. He's growing up. He's going to be okay. And she looked at me and said, Coach, don't you lie to me. And I said, he's going to be all right. I'm taking care of him. I'll never forget. She said, Coach, what size shoe you wear? And I said, 12. She said, next time he scoots it, you take that size 12 and you put it right up his. And I said, okay. She said, there's not another coach on this staff can hit my kid, but you can hit him right in the mouth. And I said, no. And BJ Davis was one of the best buddies Georgia Tech ever had. I want those kind of kids. I want the Austin twins that were 5'8", that started 3 years at Georgia Tech and won an Orange Bowl, but everybody said was too small. I hope I have the smallest, fastest, toughest team that Sewanee's ever had. I could care less if we over 6'2", 6'3". I get so tired of that, half of them can't run. And they don't love football. I want guys who love playing football. And I want guys who got a chip on their shoulder. I had a chip on my shoulder growing up. My high school coach took that out. So, anything I can answer, I can talk all night. Y'all already know that. Thank you. Y'all, thanks for, I'm thinking